我啲嘢啊！
拿来！
I live in Guangzhou, which is China's 5th largest city. A message started going around in WeChat groups that a big budget kung fu action flick was going to be filming in the area and they needed, quote, Western extras to be in the film. I messaged the contact person and the next day I went in for a screen test and a costume fitting. The movie would be a spin-off to the popular Ip Man film series made popular by martial arts master Donnie Yen. The film I would be in is called Master Z, The Ip Man Legacy, following the personal story of Master Z, a side character from one of the main Ip Man movies. Donnie Yen would not appear in this film, but big-name actors Michelle Yeoh, Dave Bautista, Tony Jaa, and Jin Zhang would get plenty of opportunity to do some wire-assisted butt-kicking. The director was none other than Hong Kong action legend Wu Ping, most famous for bringing his kinetic wirework fighting style to America in the Matrix films. There were two big scenes they needed extras for. The first was a nightclub scene with a gaggle of Navy guys on shore leave in a Hong Kong bar. They picked up every young-looking white dude in town. Ironically, most of the American Navy men in this scene were played by Russians. When it was the day of the shoot for my scene, all the local extras met at 5 a.m. to take a bus to the National Arts Film Studio in Foshan. The studio has an extensive backlot with a variety of sets for historical dramas. There's also a replica Hong Kong street scene that was used extensively in Master Z. Here's Jin Zhang doing some high-flying stunts. And here's Tony Jaa doing some window shopping. The scenes I was in were interior shots. The building you see here is entirely fake, constructed inside a huge soundstage on a hill above the backlot. It was really interesting to see the way a big budget film was shot. First off, we all had to get costumes, hair, and makeup done. There was about 100 extras, so this took all morning. We spent hours and hours in a concrete room waiting for our chance to go into the actual set. It's the old Hollywood cliche of hurry up and wait. The main actors were in the set filming another scene, and a couple of extras got to go in and be a background element for this shot. The rest of us were jealous that we had to wait until the sun went down before it would be our turn to go in for our big scene. I'd been chatting with a distinguished gentleman named Roger and found out that he was an old hat at being in Chinese productions, and he even had some lines in the scene coming up. I made sure to stand next to him when they were blocking the extras. I got to be in the front row, and they even gave me a prop to hold. It was a booklet with a photo of Dave Bautista in it. All of the big-name actors would shoot their lines first. They would start with sweeping establishing shots, and then we'd have to break for 30 minutes while all of the lights were adjusted, and everything was moved around to make way for the massive camera rig. There were people hidden up in the ceiling moving lights and ceiling panels to change the lighting for each and every setup. The director, Wu Ping, was only briefly in the room with us. He spent his time outside the set, watching the playback, live from a monitor, directing via walkie-talkie. I've done theater before, and used to the way that stage actors loudly project their voices. But in the movies, a lot of the times, it's barely even a whisper, with a condenser mic close over their head. Between takes, there's a huge tube pumping cold air into the set, but when it's time to start shooting, they turn it off, and the room is deathly quiet. You can feel the temperature in the room immediately begin to rise from the heat from all the lights. Even in that silence, we could barely hear Bautista saying his lines.
Some objection to your background.
He was really friendly, though. Even when he screwed up some of his lines, he looked at all of us out there watching him, and he apologized. Someone yelled, "No problem, Dave!" and we all cheered. After his scenes were over, everyone rushed him, tried to get some selfies, but he was quickly whisked away by the crew. Another fun fact is you see all the food at the buffet tables? It's all real. And under the hot lights, it started to stink. Not sure why they bother using real food in the scenes where there's never even a close-up shot, but I guess that's what the pros do. I heard stories that the banquet scenes in the Harry Potter movies were notoriously stinky. Finally, after all the main actors had shot their lines, it was time for the reverse shots with all of us extras. Dave and Michelle got to go back to their hotel, and we had a crew member telling us what to do. We had to act angry at Michelle's character for being an evil crime lady. My new buddy Roger got to say his line.
We cannot accept money from organized crime.
And hear this?
Yes, absolutely.
That's not my voice. I guess my yeah wasn't good enough, so they overdubbed it in ADR. Here's my other line. That's a lot. That's 2 lines. Still waiting for my SAG card to show up. All in all, it took 2 days to film, and it was exhausting and mostly boring. As someone who teaches a high school film class, though, it was great to see what a real studio looks like in action. Also, it changed the way I watched movies. Every time I see a scene now with a large crowd of extras, I think, man, this scene is expensive. They had to pay every single one of those people. And I can just imagine the endless hours all of those people had to endure just to be a face in the crowd. Anyways, the climactic fight scene was later filmed in the same location, so I got to watch them utterly demolish the booth where I used to lay down between takes and try and take a nap. Let's enjoy.